right, first graders, today we're going to be talking about the leaders and the roles in Alabama and a little bit about the three branches of our government. So our standard is to recognize leaders and their roles in the local government, the local community, and the state of Alabama. But first, before we start diving into everything, we're going to define some terms. So, what is a public official overall? A public official is anyone in a position of official authority that is conferred by the state. For example, our mayor and our governor of Alabama. So, overall, it's anyone in our government that has a important official job. So we're going to start little and we're going to build big. So we're going to start off with talking about our mayor. So a mayor is the head of a city or a town. They're in charge of overseeing the local government and passing laws. So a mayor, for example, we have a mayor that's over our Montgomery city. Birmingham has a different mayor over their city. So they're just in charge of the city of their state. So what is a governor? Building a little bit bigger. Our governor is head of the executive branch of all of Alabama. The governor lives in the governor's mansion, and some of the roles of the governor are enforcing state laws, vetoing bills, and making recommendation for state laws. So our governor lives in the capital normally, which in our case is Montgomery, and the governor lives in the governor's mansion, and they are in charge of the entire state of Alabama, not just our city, but the whole state. All right, and then a little bigger is what is the president? The president is the head of the entire United States of America. They are in charge of every single state, which in our case we have 50 states. So the president oversees all 50 states. The president lives in the White House in Washington, D.C. When you're the president, there are two main jobs. The first one is the commander-in-chief, which means that they will decide when and if we go to war. The second role of the president is the chief executive, which means they enforce laws and veto laws as a part of Congress. All right, so who exactly is our mayor in Alabama? Our mayor, which is over our city, is Todd Strange, and he has been our mayor in Montgomery since 2009. And there is a picture of Mr. Strange. All right, so who is our governor in Alabama? Our governor is in charge of the entire state and lives in the governor's mansion, which is Kay Ivey, and she's been the governor since recently in 2017. And here's a picture of Miss Ivey. So who is the president? Who is in charge of all 50 states? Our president is Donald Trump, and he has been the president since the 2016 presidential election. All right, now that we've discussed our mayor, governor, and the president, we're going to dive in a little bit into discussing the three branches of government. So I want everyone to pay close attention to this video.
For government to work, cooperation among the three branches is necessary. There is currently a system in place to ensure that one branch does not become too powerful. We call this system checks and balances. The first branch we are going to talk about is the executive branch. The executive branch is made up of the president and his cabinet. The president is the head of state and the leader of our country. A president is elected by the
right, guys. Good job listening. All right, so now we're going to just discuss a little bit more into what the video said. So as the video said, there are three branches of government, which are the legislative, executive, and the judicial branch. The legislative branch makes laws and is composed of two parts, the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Senate has 2 members from each state, and so there are 100 senators, which compose of the 50 states. So 50 times 2 is 10. So 100. So there are 2 senators from each state. So the House is based off of our states. The House of Representatives is based off of the state's population. So, for example, California has 55 representatives because they have a much larger state than Alabama, who only has just a few representatives. So that one is based off of our state's population. And both of these will work together to create bills that will be sent to the president eventually. So next we have the executive branch. The executive branch carries out the laws and is made up of the president and the vice president. That is the highest branch of government. So eventually when the bill gets passed through all these different branches, it will go to the executive branch, which is composed of the president and the vice president, and the president will ultimately decide if the bill will be passed or vetoed, which is rejected. Next, we're going to talk about the judicial branch. The judicial branch is made up of the Supreme Court, and there are judges that are appointed for life. The president appoints them for life, and there is only 9 judges in our judicial branch. All right, so now that we've talked about a little bit about the 3 branches of government, we're going to just look at what country do we live in. We live in the United States of America with 50 different states, and Donald Trump is over all 50 states, overseeing all 50 states, and our capital of the entire country of the United States is Washington, D.C. So what state do we live in? We live right here in the orange. We live in the state of Alabama. We are bordered by Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and Mississippi. So what is the capital of Alabama? Our capital is Montgomery, Alabama. Every state, like Texas is Houston, Florida is Tallahassee. Each state has a capital. And we just happen to live in the capital of Alabama, which is Montgomery. And Montgomery is where our governor lives, who is in charge of the whole state of Alabama. So we're going to look quickly into next week. So since today's Friday, on Monday, we'll be discussing the 3 branches of government in more detail. In addition, we'll be creating 3D branches of our government tree, and here are some examples of previous student work. It's going to be a really fun activity. All right, thank you guys for using your good listening, and we will get started next week.